we gotta start this sports section in the Michigan State basketball game. Who wants to jump into it?
Matt, you take it. I'm actually I don't know what to think about this event, if I'm being totally honest. So I'll be curious what you have to say.
Obviously I'm probably a little more active on social media, on Twitter, X than you guys are, especially during games. I like to get on there and just see what fans and stuff are talking about, and maybe give some thoughts myself. That was a situation where I watched it and I texted some friends and stuff, but as far as posting something on social media, I tried to take a step back and be like, let me not give a knee-jerk reaction. Let me just think about it and maybe see what Dusty May says, see what Tom Izzo says after the game, or whatever. And really, I didn't necessarily change it. This is not going to come as a surprise to you guys. Falling down the middle, middleman Matt, basically is what it is. You guys know, diehard Michigan fan. I am not a Tom Izzo fan, but I have said I 100% respect what he has done with that program, and Hall of Fame coach, all-timer, all of that kind of stuff. But you guys know I'm not necessarily a fan. The kissing of the logo tradition, I think, is cool. I wish Michigan had a culture like what Michigan State basketball does. The fans pack the Breslin. Fans are all over. They're wearing their Michigan State gear all the time. And the culture that Tom Izzo has built for Michigan State basketball is, I think, what any program across the country would want. If you look at the model of a basketball program in today's college basketball, I think most people would say Michigan State. Yeah, I could go with that, making the Final Fours, winning Big Tens all the time. I think the kissing of the logo tradition is cool. Let's get that out of the way. I think it is a very cool thing for the seniors, especially when you got a senior like Akins and like Cassius Winston, and when Denzel Valentine and guys like that come through, Drew Neitzel, guys that have been the program for as long as they've been at Michigan State. That said, it is so played out how long they drag it on. If it's a blowout, call one timeout, get the subs in, do your kissing, do your applause, move on. The one yesterday during a free throw is, to me, so self-serving, and it's basically like Tom Izzo and the Michigan State program saying, we don't care that we're in the middle of a game, 20-point blowout or not, who cares? We're still in the middle of a game. We're going to pause everything. We're going to pause the TV production. We're going to pause the game. The refs don't even really know what to do. And we're going to make everyone wait one by one as we cattle pony these seniors in and out of here. And it's to the point where it's like, what are we doing? You could tell Dusty May, he probably doesn't fully understand the rivalry yet. He's still first year as a Michigan head coach. He's even kind of like, what's happening here? Like you're subbing these guys in. One, and the referee throws the ball to Pippen. Pippen was at the free throw line for Michigan. And he even had to take the ball and then give it back because another sub was coming in. And then that's when the fight broke out. The tradition is cool. I don't think do away with it. Izzo was on the court after the game. He said, no one's going to steal this tradition from us or whatever. It's like, no one's trying to steal your tradition, but do it in a reasonable way. When you're delaying a free throw 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes because you're subbing one after another, that's where it gets to be like, come on, man, what are we doing? Call a timeout if you want to do it this way. Do it after the game, because to me, it almost disrespects the game if you're delaying it that long. But I'm not saying quit the tradition. I'm not saying take that away, but do it in a little bit more of a respectful way. If there's anyone that respects the game, it's Tom Izzo, right? I mean, he respects the game of basketball, but that's just, I'm not saying get rid of the tradition, but do it in a little more reasonable way. Should the Michigan players have been standing on the logo? Yeah, I mean, no, probably not. They knew what they were doing, but
yeah, I'll give my take. I mean, I pretty much agree with what you're saying, to tell you the truth. I mean, it probably seemed more elongated because you are a big Michigan fan. I understand that, but there was 3 guys, wasn't there? Was there 3 guys that got sent out there to kiss the court? It took a minute. Well, it took a long time because I think, the referees didn't know what was going on. It was weird. It definitely took longer than it should have. And I tend to agree with the fact that it is a cool tradition. They wouldn't be doing that if it was like a 2-point game, right? They couldn't. No. They couldn't do it. They'd have to wait till the game's over. So maybe the tradition should be moved to right after the game. Now, for anybody that thinks the 2 Michigan players didn't know what was going on, and this is my opinion, Dusty May knew exactly what was going on. He played dumb in that press conference, as far as I'm concerned. He knew 100%. If he didn't know, shame on him. I mean, he's been there for a year. He scouted the Spartans. He knows.
That's what I thought the same thing too. Wouldn't you think like it's almost worse if he hadn't heard of it? Like, don't you think that should be in like the film scout? Like, almost his motivation. Don't let him do this. Like,
absolutely.
I don't know.
Right.
And that was the other thing I was going to make a comment on, Jared, before you jump in. If you don't want them to do that, then don't get blown out. You got blown out at home on your senior day, so shame on you.
Right. Yep.
I've gone back and forth on this like 5 different times. I don't know. At first, I was like, oh, Michigan State comes across as jerks. Then I thought about it more. I'm like, you know what? Like, Michigan showed more fight in that little than they did all game. So then I'm like, okay, that kind of bothered me. The whole thing is irritating. I'm with Matt where it's like, I love the tradition and it's very cool. To me, it's like it's almost like bizarre. It makes my skin crawl thinking about it. All right, let's pause this game and let's do one by one. Each guy cycle in and out. It's like it's. I know it's a tradition, and I know they have great fans at Michigan State, and I know it's very cool, and I know that these seniors deserve that moment. But it is like it's bizarre, man. It's mid game, and we're just hitting the pause button so we can honor each of these dudes. Like, just wait till after the game. Wait till after the game. Now, Michigan State is validated because of Michigan's response, standing at midcourt, disrespecting them pretty much flat out. I'm with you. Dusty May knew. He knew. He was very hostile as soon as that press conference started.
Yep.
To me, just let him do it. Yeah, it's annoying, and man, it's gonna make your blood boil, and it sucks. But as a you don't want to be the sore loser. We've seen that. I mean, with Michigan State, the brawl at the end of the football game last year. Michigan State comes out of that looking like idiots. Michigan looked great from that either. I think this situation makes both teams look kind of like babies, and that just makes me sick. And actually, I think my brother, Coach Patel, had a good point where if Beeline's on that sideline, is that happening? I think there's mutual respect that really made that rivalry awesome. But this rivalry's taken a turn where I think there is some actual hatred. And come next year, Michigan's going to do everything in their power to beat Michigan State, and Michigan State's going to do everything in their power to beat by 40. So it makes me excited for rivalry, but it's just annoying that it seems like every time Michigan State beat up, it's never just about what happened on the court.
Right.
There's always why is there always these different spots every goddamn time? It's annoying, man. I like tradition. What do you guys think, though? I mean, it's a fair tradition. Can we do it all at once? Is that really such a problem? This isn't even just a Michigan problem. This is like almost a sportsmanship problem. I'm thinking about Michigan State. They beat down the Big Ten every year, and they game pretty much every year, other than the one time with Draymond Green when they lost. Like, just save it for after the game. This is a Big Ten basketball game.
Seems pretty simple.
You just pick up your rules because of a tradition. Big Ten basketball game. There is rules. If you're going to call a million timeouts to do it, okay, great. If you're going to get a technical foul to do it, great. We shouldn't have to move everything around just because it's Tom Izzo and he's a legend. Like, there's so many different ways to. I'm not mad at Michigan State. I'm not mad at Michigan. I'm just mad at the situation.
Yeah,
and the Big Ten needs to step in and solve this. Honestly, in my opinion.
And that's where it's going to even cause a little bit more of an argument between fans and stuff. If the Big Ten does step in and say, Michigan State, you can continue this, but it has to be after the game. Now Michigan State fans are going to be pissed and say, oh, this is because Michigan cried and Michigan did this or whatever. And it's like, no, just be reasonable. I think that's what it is. No one's having you guys stop it. I wonder, to try and give Dusty May a little bit of credit, I don't know. He's only been there a year. We'll see how he ends up being as a Michigan coach. I wonder if he knew what the tradition was, but maybe didn't know that it was going to take that long. Like, I wonder if that's maybe what his excuse could be. Okay, I know you're going to do this sub, kiss the logo. Okay, I get that. But now you're going one by one with these substitutions, and my guys are trying to just shoot the free throws and move on with the game. It does kind of feel like you're rubbing our noses in it. I wonder if that's Dusty's defense. Like, okay, I knew you were going to do it, but I didn't know it was going to take this long. I don't know. Whether that's right or wrong, I'm not sure, but
at the end of the day, who gives a damn anyway, right? I mean, when you think about it, it's today's latest topic. But I will say, if I'm Dusty May and that happens, I'll tell you right now, I'm in that locker room with my team after that game, and I'm going to say, not a chance that ever is effing going to ever happen again.
All right.
We're not ever letting that happen again. We're going to win. You know what I mean? Use it for motivation.
Right. Because that's right there that shows that Tom Izzo and Michigan State basketball clearly is the premier program in the Big Ten because of that right there. I mean, everyone already knew that, but that situation right there just showed it even more. And until we beat them, or anybody, until Purdue, until Indiana, until anybody beats them, Tom Izzo is the standard in the Big Ten. And the one thing that's kind of goofy too, I saw some people, obviously this went all the way back to Sean Respert. Sean Respert was the first guy to do it in 1994. The backstory is pretty funny. Jalen Rose basically wiped his ass on the Spartan logo. Right. I mean, for the most part, that's kind of what happened. And then Sean Respert, when he won on his senior day against Michigan, he went and kissed the logo, and that's kind of where it started. Okay. The one thing that's kind of funny, Mateen Cleaves, when he did it as a senior, obviously one of the biggest Michigan State legends ever, he did it. The picture of him kissing the logo, there's a Michigan player, again, it was against Michigan, standing right next to him. Mateen Cleaves, the biggest Michigan State legend, the national title, all that, everything. When he's kissing the logo, there's a Michigan player standing immediately right next to him. No fight, nothing. He runs over, gives Izzo his hug, and does it. But then, today's players, and I saw people saying like, this shows how soft today's, society is and all that kind of stuff. And it's like that, it turns into a fight. And I don't know if I'm going that far, but it's just kind of like I think you said it, Jared, either side, you could see either side. Michigan player shouldn't have been standing there. Should the Michigan State player have walked up and basically started a fight? Probably not. So,
Michigan State, they're a likable team, and they're a very together team, and they're a deep team, and you can tell that they really enjoy each other. As a Michigan fan, they are what's not cashing a lot of checks, or what's the phrase I'm looking for here? They're writing a lot of checks that they have to cash. Like, to me, I'm going to be watching them every round. If they don't make it to the Final Four, this season is a bust, in my opinion. But then I have State fans telling me, they've really exceeded expectations and they won the Big Ten. What happened to winning the Big Ten being like the standard at Michigan State? Right. That's what you do. I mean, we saw Michigan, man. They don't look right now. They are number 3 seed in the Big Ten tournament, probably the second best team in the Big Ten. What are we celebrating so crazy here? This is me being, kind of a troll, but I'm going to say it anyway. Why is Tom Izzo on the mic after every guy game this year? He's on the mic saluting something after every game this year. Like, they are putting a target on their back, in my opinion, as a fan, as a watcher of college basketball, that I am looking forward to watching them the rest of the way. Again,
Mark,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, mark my words right now. Okay, this is pod 351. Spartans are going to be in the Final Four and a legit possible national championship team. Yeah, they got a target on them. They definitely got a target on them, and I think Tom Izzo relishes it. And I think he has this team playing the kind of ball you need to at this. Listen, we're talking about this silly thing at midcourt kissing the Spartan. Let's talk about the game. 50 first half points. They blew Michigan out yesterday. They just that second half they didn't have to worry about it. That is a tremendous Michigan State team that is well coached, Hall of Fame coached. And whether you like Izzo or don't like Izzo, that little fella, he can coach. And he is, we should be, and I know, Matt, you don't like him. That's okay. That's okay. But I'll tell you what, I think everybody in America, myself, I love the guy, the way he coaches. There's not many of these old school coaches left. And there's not going to be many left when he retires. So I say savor it and enjoy it. Whether you hate the Spartans or don't hate the Spartans, got to respect that dude.
I understand, but like what Izzo is, I mean, is Izzo required to be on the mic after every damn win this year? It's like,
who's putting him on the mic?
He's the old school guy, but he's
not doing it himself.
Yes.
He's not forcing the cameras to film him, are they? Is he?
I mean, he's probably like the biggest star, right? I mean, yeah. If Tom Izzo grabs the mic, the cameras are going to be on him because he runs that university. We know that the football facility is named after Tom Izzo. Right. I mean, think about that. Who wants to coach at Michigan State?
But he's not grabbing the mic; they're interviewing him. They want Tom Izzo on the camera.
I think, Jared, are you talking about like grabbing the PA
like he
mic?
addressed the crowd. He's addressed the crowd like 3 times.
I got you. Okay, that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, the TV interviews are different. Of course, TV is going to be like interview Tom. If you can get Tom, bring Tom over. My one beef, 100%, the basketball part. Clearly, he's a legend. I mean, there's no disputing that for sure. I hate how people put him on a pedestal as if he invented the game of basketball, can do no wrong. Nobody has ever coached the game of basketball like Tom Izzo. Nobody schemes the way Tom Izzo. Nobody builds a program the way Tom Izzo does. That kind of stuff. He is a legend for sure. He hasn't won a national title in over 25 years now. And, he's got all these Big Tens, all these Final Fours. If he's as great of a coach as people put him on this pedestal, he wouldn't have the record in the Final Four that he does. He would have 3-4 national titles, like a guy like Jim Calhoun, like Roy Williams, like Bob Knight. He passes Bob Knight in Big Ten wins. Bob Knight has more national titles than him. So that's my one thing. Like Michigan State fans and other people act like, and he is the old school guy. You don't see people build programs the way that he does. And I just said it. I wish Michigan's program had the culture, like what Michigan State does. I just wouldn't put him on the pedestal like that, because it's like there's a list of dudes with multiple national championships, and Tom Izzo is not on that list. If he's as great of a coach as people make him out to be, he'd have at least 2, right?
I
3.
We agree to disagree on that one. I mean, the national championships aren't the easiest thing to come by. I look at the overall coaching record. He does have a national championship. He's not an offer, right? How many Final Fours has he been to? What's his winning record? Yeah. I mean, and his players, you don't hear them bad mouthing him.
Right.
He's a great coach. I'm not saying, obviously I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, man, I mean, genuine question to you, Ted, genuine question.
Yeah.
Is this tradition because I can get enough of this damn court thing. The game was the game. I mean, was anybody surprised that they got blown out? I mean, that we knew that was happening.
A little bit. Michigan pretty good.
Is free falling. I mean,
they are free falling.
The state is surging. They look damn good. Again, the barometer is the Final Four. Make it there, and this is one hell of a year. Izzo is that guy. He showed us. He smacked us all in the face and said, "I can still do this."
Right.
To me, this tradition of kissing the floor is a slap in the face to the opposing team, to the opposing coaches. Not just Michigan. This is against Ohio State. This is against Iowa. Legendary longtime coaches, Wisconsin. Am I crazy? Like, this is mid-game and we're parading around. Matt, what was the word you used? It's kind of a funny word, like cattailing or something like that. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Cow pow.
Yeah.
Cow pow. You're making the other.
But
yeah.
No,
cool.
I'll give you that one, man. It's rubbing it in the opponent's face. There's no question about it. Now, where it all started, I don't, like Matt laid out. Okay, but I do agree. Okay, I'm the only guy here really on this podcast that I love Tom Izzo. Right?
I
love
like
the
Tom Izzo too.
I'm
busting balls. I mean, to me, that's not Izzo.
I'm also
that's not Izzo. And,
I know.
It felt like a step maybe too much last game.
Well, I'm a little weird too, because I am weird because I am not a Spartan hater by any stretch of the imagination. Now, that's weird. I grew up in Michigan. When I first started watching college football, Michigan State was the power. I was a Michigan State fan in football. Then all of a sudden, I became a Michigan fan mainly because of Bob Ufer. To be honest with you, just listening to games and then starting to tune into them. So when it comes to football, I'm maize and blue 100%. When it comes to basketball, I can take it or leave it. If either team is good, I'm rooting for them. I don't root against Michigan State ever, in basketball.
And I'm not, and maybe I'm getting buried in the lead here, but I still think CMA came across worse than Tom Izzo did yesterday with all the pageantry and everything. I still think how Michigan handled it wasn't the right way, in my opinion. So I'm not saying that that Michigan is of no fault. One was kind of funny that Dusty May said, I think it might have been today. He said something like, I haven't seen the Michigan State documentary about he had a couple of funny one-liners that I appreciated. But again, Izzo legend to me. If he was right here, I'd be kissing his ring. But just to me, I think this tradition that is awesome. It's a very good thing. Don't turn a positive into a negative, as the old phrase said.
Yeah.
Let's appreciate the tradition. Just keep it to after the game, man. And again, Michigan react like babies, and that's what the most tradition is. That
I think we all three agree. Move it to after the game, right? We all three agree on that one. Hey, we'll leave it there where we're friends again.
Hey, I would be the first one on this podcast. We could no catch up. We wouldn't have to do anything. If Tom Izzo gets championship number 2, I'm saying put him up there with John Wooden. Put him up there multiple national titles. Until he gets that second one, I can't put him up there with Roy Williams and Jim Calhoun and some of these other guys. Bob Knight.
Fair.
If he does that, we never there's nothing you could say.
Nope.
Again,
because it would be over multiple generations. It would be like you've done this for 30 years and you won national. It would be like that's insane.
Well, the other cool thing, I mean, this gets buried sometimes, but not here in the state. He's a Michigan guy. He grew up in the UP, cool. For God's sakes.
I appreciate that.
Those roots are here. That's what that all goes into the Tom Legend lore as far as Ted Fattel goes, man.
It is. It's a good point.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll see what happens in March Madness. I mean, Jared, you're right on. I mean, Michigan's reeling, and I don't know what they need to do other than they got to figure out how to play the bigs down low. And, I don't know, Wolf's been in a little bit of a funk. He had 18, but didn't play that good,
I wonder Yeah, Wolf has been in funk. The whole team, the 3-point shooting has just fallen completely off the map. Meanwhile, Michigan State's 3-point shooting is ascending. So, the two teams are going in opposite directions. I wonder if, and this isn't like, this isn't an excuse. This isn't like anything, making Michigan, I don't know, whatever someone could say. I wonder if leaving the Big Ten could actually help them get away from the Big Ten schedule. I wonder if, all these Big Ten teams have scouted them over and over and over. You've seen Michigan State twice. You've seen some of these other teams twice. I know we've got the Big Ten tournament, but I wonder if getting to March Madness and playing some completely random team, I don't even know who, Winthrop, actually, I think Winthrop got knocked out, but like High Point or, something like that could actually help them. Cause I do think Michigan is a pretty good team. Are they Final Four good? I don't know about that, but I think they're a pretty good team. Right. And if they get the right matchup with Golden is actually playing well. Golden could be the guy that could carry you 2 wins. Yeah. That's all you need. Get Golden to score you 25, 28 points. He could carry you to a couple wins, but they could also lose in the first round. So
that's the thing. Michigan is one of those programs, kind of like Oregon now that they're in the Big Ten, where it seems like, man, in my lifetime, they always overperform in the tournament. Like there's one early exit, Trey Burks, sophomore or junior year, whatever year, that freshman year maybe, versus North Dakota State. But other than that, it's like we're Sweet 16 or better. So even in those Jawan teams, when we're like 11th seed one year, we still advanced to the Sweet 16. So that it's like the constant, the good and the bad that's pulling in my brain when this bracket comes out. Honestly, the Big Ten tournament will tell us a lot. If they look bad after 3-4 days off, and they still look bad, and they haven't been able to put the reset button and get ready for the tournament, then I'm really going to be nervous. But when I get that in front of me, it's going to be hard for me not to talk myself into a Michigan Sweet 16 appearance.
Right.
So what are we thinking without knowing what happens in the tournament, the Big Ten tournament? Where are we thinking they're going to fall in the seedings? The Spartans probably solid 2, I would guess, right? Maybe even if they win the Big Ten tournament, could even slide into a 1.
I think they're not a 1 if they win the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah.
Personally,
they could definitely
play
Michigan.
Maybe a 3-4.
I think the latest thing I saw was a 6. Like if they lose if they lose in the first round of the Big Ten tournament, or well, not the first round, but their first game of the Big Ten tournament, they could fall down to 5 or 6 because they've completely fallen off the map. In the last couple of weeks, but
they're going to be on the
all this negativity. People are trying. You try and keep it positive. Jared, you've been trying to, don't turn a positive into a negative. Well, let's turn a negative into a positive. Remember, Michigan, that last year of Jawan was ugly. They only won 8 games last year.
Yes.
Complete roster turnover, all transfers, first-year head coach. I mean, Dusty May did take FAU to a Final Four, so he's a proven head coach. And they are tied for second place in the Big Ten, a number 3 seed in the Big Ten tournament. So the end of the season was pretty atrocious, but they did kind of turn things around. They've got Mr. Basketball coming next year. So hopefully we'll see.
Yeah, I agree. Dusty May he'll be a good coach for Michigan. They'll be consistently in the upper echelon of the Big Ten. We'll see what happens in the tournament. The only concern I have is, they are playing bad at the wrong time of year.
Right.
Right. It just depends on the draw they get, where they go. You know how it works.
Yep.
We will see.
This is something. Tell me if I'm crazy. And I've been bragging around my right. Michigan is very much better this year. Dusty May has done a great job. I already gave him an A+ 1 game into the season. I think he still is a good hire. I don't know if I like the type of team that they're forming. And I don't know, like the way Michigan State seemingly out-toughed them twice, the way that they've been sporadic this season. To me, there was something, that you could sleep good at night knowing John Beilein, hey, they're going to be respectful. They're going to play together. They're not going to turn the ball over. They're going to shoot the ball well. They're going to be exciting. Like, there's something I can't – am I crazy, Matt? Maybe you help me maybe sound like an idiot or sound good. There's something off about this program that I'm not liking. Is there anything to that?
No, it's hard not to think that because they got completely out-toughed, in multiple games, not just against Michigan State. I mean, down the stretch, multiple teams were pushing them around, giving up offensive rebounds constantly, just stuff that you can't do in the Big Ten. You've got to have guys that are tough. If you have 2 7-footers, you got to be able to get rebounds. I wonder if just, these guys coming in, we're almost like, stopgap type of guys. Golden's only going to be here. I bet Danny Wolf is going to come back, but
I hope,
Tom Izzo knows the guys that he's going to bring to Michigan State. He's going to get those solid big dudes who are going to rebound, who are going to box out, be tough, like Xavier Tillman and guys like that. So I hope that Dusty May kind of saw that this year. Like, okay, this Big Ten basketball is not finesse type basketball. You got to have some big dudes that can bang around down there, and you got to have some shooting. So that's what Beilein figured out. You had to have solid big guys, and you got to be able to shoot the ball. Turnovers. Yeah. Hopefully that just gets cleaned up. But
yeah, those are killers. Well, what kind of player is McKinney? I guess I haven't watched him play. Is he a shooter? Is he a slasher? How's he play?
Forward shooter. Yeah, I think he's 6'4", 6'5". He's going to be an intriguing player. I don't know what to make of him. I think we talked about it maybe a month or so ago. I don't know what to make of him at college level, but in terms of high school, man, he's impressive. It's pretty rare that you have a back-to-back state champion in Class A. Usually when we have those type of teams, it's some of the legends like a Denzel Valentine, which is Class B, and I think Sexton. But I don't know. His resume in high school really speaks for itself. But I'm very curious because he's a little bit undersized, but he really can score the ball.
Right.
Well, I look forward to seeing him play. Hopefully he makes it to Breslin and can get a chance to check him out there.